Hi everyone! On this video tutorial I'll go over most all the steps I take when drawing an eye. Now before I begin, I want to point out that everyone's eyes are different. Sometimes the shading and reflections can vary depending on whose eye you're drawing or where you are drawing them. So you can apply different techniques when you are forming your eye. Recently, I've been working on this drawing of Captain Barbossa from the Pirates of the Caribbean series. Now I'm on to one of his eyes. I already have the sketch for it drawn out. If you're curious how I did that, check out one of my previous videos on how to start a drawing. To start out, I go over what should be my darkest lines first. Usually I use a 4B to 6B pencil, and the point of the pencil doesn't necessarily have to be sharp, and you'll see why in just a second. I also do not make these lines as dark as I can. Once I've done that, I'll move to the eyebrow. Now when I draw, I always want to think about layers. When I look at the eyebrow, what is the lightest value I see? I then try to mimic that value with what I call a tortillon. This can go by other names such as a blending stump. Basically, it's a paper rolled up that helps you blend. Now this one you can see has already been used. That's okay. For me, it works sometimes better than a clean tortillon. I use this for most all of the blending I do except for my very light shades. I go ahead and try to create that light value over the eyebrows. Next, I start drawing the eyebrow hairs. Be sure to draw out each strand of hair. Don't cheat and scribble the hairs. Drawing each one will make it look more real. And notice I started out light and slowly got darker. Now I use the used tortillon and complete the shading between the eye and the eyebrow. Once I've done that, I'll go in with a pencil and shade some of the darker elements. I then use the tortillon again and blend all of it in. Also be sure to blend the darker lines that you drew before into the section between the eye and the eyebrows. Next, I move to the eye. With the pencil, I do a light shade of where the dark sections will be. Now for this case, I'll use a cleaner tortillon, and I'll drag the darker values into the whites of the eye. I'll work my pencil in a little more to get the desired shade of value. Now I move to the pupil and the iris. The shine, in my opinion, is the most important part of the eye. Be sure when you're shading in the eye that you leave that shine alone. I go ahead and shade the dark elements of the eye, and again try to replicate the lightest value you can see from your reference. I'll blend them in one more time. Now it's time to get aggressive. When I was starting out drawing, I was afraid to make things too dark. After practicing a lot, I worked on getting those darker shades in my drawings, and it's made a big difference. With a sharp 6B to 8B pencil, I go ahead and get my dark values on the eye. The pupil and underneath the top eyelid are usually the darkest parts. I also outline the iris with that pencil, and then I drag lines from that outline into the iris. I also do all my blending with the pencil. Once I have that, I'll continue on to the skin below the eye. For this part, we want it to look like it's in front of the eye, so we make sure that it stands out. And the rest is similar to how you did the skin above the eye. In addition, what I like to do, which is preference, is to make the shine stick out a little more. I use a white Uniball Signal pen, which is basically a ballpoint pen, but the white ink comes out a little thicker. So I go over all the parts, even eyelashes, that are pure white. Don't worry about bleeding or too thick of lines because that is where a X-Acto knife comes in. I lightly scratch off all the white I don't want in my eye. And presto, you have an eye. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave your comments and questions below. If you have ideas for another tutorial, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Thanks.